So that makes it actually easier. But before you get there, there are a lot of levels of discomfort that need to be overcome. Like what I mentioned before about taking responsibility, making a deal quickly, committing to a big set of legal terms. That will be a challenge doing business with the American.
But those issues, Japanese are so much familiar with kind of sort of things. Contract is more in detail, or they are straightforward, or they are try to make a more short-term decision-making sort of things. Japanese people recognize that, so they are more easy to doing business with American people. Okay, we're going to start multicultural. You need to consider for gaps among overseas people, Westerners and Japan, but maybe Japanese business people, client, I know that, right? I know all of those things. Usually, Japanese people, they are not doing business with European people. European people is very special compared with the other rest of the world. So it means it's a little bit difficult to persuade Japanese people, okay, you should study sort of globalization, multicultural, is kind of issues, and training leadership and liberal arts and sort of Japanese identity, but something difficult for persuade them, because they believe, okay, we don't have any problem in doing business in Asia people, we don't have any problem doing business with American people, right? How do you think?
Well, I think basically, ultimately, if they really want to do business overseas with Southeast Asians, with Chinese, with Europeans, with Americans, they ultimately need to create the same awareness of their own thinking, their own values, their own held beliefs, and how the world should operate. And once they know that, they will realize that when they get into a situation where they're not comfortable, they'll say, hey, why is that? Why do I feel uneasy here? Why can we not get on the same page? And once you're aware of yourself, once you know how you feel, then you can map that with how the other person is feeling and say, okay, we have a gap here. So being able to take one step back, being able to identify the gap, and then from there trying to close it will help you to do business with anyone. Of course, it helps then also if you have knowledge of liberal arts, knowledge of how the business culture in a certain country works, how the business culture in China works, how the business culture in the UK works, how the business culture in the United States works. But basically, it all starts with realizing and knowing how you yourself function, because otherwise you cannot map it. So the highest step in the pyramids that I put on paper is me. That is what me means. Me means that I'm capable of reflecting on myself and understanding how I think, and realizing that the way that I think is not the same for everybody.
So we need to give them, Japanese business person, we need to give them awareness, right?
Yes. Yeah. About themselves.
They do not recognize those gaps.
To sell that is probably not going to be that easy. So maybe it's better to start with some hands-on practical things about liberal arts, about negotiation, about persuasion, and things like that to become aware of the other side. But then it's time to turn the table to reflect on yourself and say, okay, well, how am I going to deal with that?
Takashi, how do you think about gap with Vietnamese and Japanese? You don't feel anything at all?
I think I'm feeling less than other Japanese. maybe the gap between Japan and Japanese is same as in Western style. Basically.
Say again, you don't feel any gaps?
Yeah, I think I feel less gap.
Feel less gap. Why you don't feel less gap with Vietnamese?
Maybe because I'm studying here.
You are living in there so several years already. So if Japanese people doing work in outside Japan, they get familiar with local people. So it means Japanese company, okay, we're going to assign him outside Japan, and he stay in Vietnam. They stay in Singapore, maybe spending for a couple of years. They get familiar with local people, so no problem at all. They are currently thinking. Is this correct? Also, they are going to consider the department or overseas department. Right, we don't need to think about it. Whenever we have problem or we assign people assigned to overseas, settle. Okay? We don't have any communication problem. Only okay, Japanese people assigned to Vietnam, but headquarters need to communicate with the people assigned to overseas. But localization or local gap, we don't have so much big problem issue. They think. Are they thinking like that?